Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Cinema Savvy. And as you can probably see from the social media posts, if you saw them, this is a very impromptu video we're doing today. So we have a couple of announcements first, which we're going to get out of the way. But I can see one person in the comments already. We've got Henrik there. Good to see you back, man. Do get your comments in and questions, because we are going to open it up as a kind of like impromptu Q&A video as well as we go through. But we're going to get all the formal proceedings out the way first. Updates for this week, because we are 2 days away from half a decade of this channel being a thing. Yes, 5 years, which is wow. It's gone. I want to say it's gone very quick. You know, it's kind of one of those things where you kind of look back and reflect that wow, it has actually been 5 years.
5 years.
A mad amount of time. But yes, so I don't know if someone, as you can probably see from the corner there, I still need to get used to which side I point when I do this thing. Cinema Savvy quiz. That is the next big thing that we're doing, and that will be going live this Thursday at 8 p.m. We've been batting around this idea for quite a while now, and we realized that, you know, what could we do for our 5th year anniversary? Other years we've done Q&A videos, we've just done a general discussion, sort of look back. We realized that we've never done a quiz before, and yeah, we're going to do it for like the next probably 8 weeks after this.
Yeah, so obviously we're all under lockdown to a degree, as many of the world is. And you guys kind of messaged me like, oh, we've got this idea for a quiz, and we're going to do all this. And this isn't like this isn't a quiz about Cinema Savvy, so you know it's not arrogant. This is a quiz we're hosting for you all, and it's not just one; it's going to be 8. It is going to start beginning this Thursday, the 7th. I keep forgetting the dates and the days of the week now. That's where we're at. And it is going to be focused for the first one on action films. Now, the way these quizzes are going to work, there's going to be 5 rounds per quiz. Should I do a round breakdown? Guys, this is how I'm
go for it.
Yeah, let's do it.
So the first round is going to be 10 questions, which is going to be general knowledge of said genre. Second round is going to be a quotes round. You need to reply with not reply, don't comment it, write on a notepad at home. You need to say the name of the character and the film it's from when it appears on the question appears. And third round is going to be soundtracks, which can be anything. It can be about a song from a film, a composer from a film, anything soundtrack related that's from a film is going to appear. So it just opens it up. It's not going to be 10 questions. Who composed this? Who composed that? Who won the Oscar for that? It's going to be a bit of everything, you know. For example, I'm sorry, I haven't spoiled one for Thursday. it would be like, you know, if we were going to talk about Tarantino, it'd be what songs played when Thingy Bob chops his ear off, and it'd be stuck in the middle with you. You know, that could be a question. So the soundtrack round is going to be very different each time. No repetitiveness there. The fourth round is going to be a picture round. We're going to have a still from a film, and I believe you have to get the character name and the film as well for this one. Correct, guys?
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
And the final round is going to be the poster round, where we will have 10 posters. And what we've basically done is zoomed in, cut around it. There will be clues, but when we upload this sort of distorted image per poster, you need to guess the film that the poster is based off. I'm not going to really give you an example because I don't have any on me to zoom into, but you can imagine what I mean. Say you've got a nice rectangle and it could be a little circle there, you know, anything. So each quiz will work like that. 5 rounds, 10 questions in each, 50 questions. Some rounds will be worth 2 points for 2 correct answers, blah, blah, blah. We'll explain it thoroughly on Thursday, but this is the gist of it. And I think we're in a position where we can tell you the 8 quizzes. Obviously, I've already said that we're going to start off first. No, not Thursday. First.
Thursday the 7th.
I'm sorry. I meant first as in the first one's action.
Oh,
yes.
Yes.
The second one is for animated films. The third one is for science fiction films. The fourth one will be for comedies. 5th for horrors. 6 fantasy. 7 musicals. And 8 sort of award season. One thing we've kind of all said between ourselves is do not expect to get like 5 questions on Marvel and 5 Star Wars in a sci-fi or an action. We're We're very much putting it across multiple decades, these questions. We're not, obviously there's some obvious ones. That's the point of quizzes. You do need to get some right, but it's not going to sit here and be like, name eight Avengers.
I was going to say, I'm going to be shocked if someone gets 100% on this. Honestly.
Yeah. Yeah, this quiz will separate the men from the boys. We have tried to keep it very balanced. There are some tough questions in there. We've kind of been throwing quiz ideas and question ideas back and forth and kind of going, that one's impossible. Like, we don't even know this one. Everyone else probably won't know it. But we thought breaking it down into 8 different quizzes was probably the best idea. We were talking about doing, like one done and dusted quiz, but we think spreading it out more, having multiple rounds on different genres is the best way. It's going to be more varied. And obviously for everyone watching at home, if you're a diehard fan of ours and you love quizzes and you love movies, then obviously feel free to tune into all of them. If maybe you know more about fantasy than you do musicals, no harm, no foul. Playing it very fast and loose, tune into whichever.
Oh,
I've lost.
I think we've lost Chris. Chris' voice has gone.
Still can't hear him.
This is so funny, guys, because before the stream started, I was having issues with my mic and camera, and it's hilarious that now it's gone into an issue with Chris, that he is now turned into Marcel Marceau.
Hello?
Hey, we're going back. There we go.
I don't know what. So my YouTube just started playing the stream out at the same time, and it was like this weird echo effect. Where did we get up to? Basically, you can tune into whichever quiz you like. Yes. I would say, and follow us on socials, and we'll post weekly as to which that quiz is on the Thursday. Sorry about that, guys. Don't know what happened there.
Yeah, just want to point out the comments here, all laughing at you. JX Editor, that's an improvement.
Oh, you, JX, you're a dick.
But anyway, guys, if you have any questions about the quizzes coming up, then please, well, we won't tell you the actual questions or the answers to them, but please write in the comments now. This is open for discussion for you guys to kind of message us for a bit. Also, if you have any other questions just generally about the channel, do you want to ask any of us at all, then please bring those in.
Or any suggestions for future drunk watch-alongs, maybe.
What was it the other day? I had an idea for one, and this could turn into a brainstorming session after a while. I thought Time Bandits, because I haven't seen that since I was a kid. And I remember that being quite a fun film.
During watch-alongs, we kind of, this isn't really like an update video, but we kind of have a vague schedule as such for like just Cinema Savvy content over the, we call it the coronavirus schedule. That's what it saves us on my computer. Obviously, Phantom Menace was a lot of fun. That can be said. No one was throwing up afterwards, were they, Tate?
No.
That's the most important part of it. And I fully recovered by 3:30 a.m. the next morning when I woke up and proceeded to stay awake for 19 hours. I went for my 2-hour walk at 5:30 in the morning, did all my jobs by 9 in the morning on a Sunday. So can't really go wrong with that. We kind of know we said it on Saturday, we kind of know we're going to do Phantom Menace at some point, Revenge of the Sith at some point. And yeah, I don't really know. Henok says Time Bandits, I effing love it. I've never had them. You're gonna have to sell me some more on that because we don't know what we're doing next. This is like impromptu. Even if no one's got any questions, that's absolutely fine because this was discussed at like what? Just before 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
So, if there's no questions, it's absolutely fine. But obviously, Thursday is also going to be the channel anniversary, which you've obviously discussed. So if we're happy to leave that there, then we're also happy to leave that there.
Going once, going twice.
Saying, I have to say, like, I didn't join the channel when it first started. I actually still haven't watched the first video.
It gets to the point where, not to say it was like a horrible thing that we made, because obviously it's developed. We've evolved as a channel, as people. The first video probably isn't that great. In terms of, it was one of those things where we did try to just lump everything into it. We were watching a lot of similar podcasts at the time, and we were kind of looking at what other channels were doing to start our own thing. And we thought, let's just do a all under one roof thing. And we've thankfully changed that process as we've gone on.
We had a headline review. Then we had news.
No, we started with news. We advertised it as a movie review, which we didn't even get to till like half hour into the video.
Hold on, how many different shows have we had during the entire run? Because we've had some which like we've had for maybe like one thing.
We had the Cinema Savvy podcast.
We had the MMMs. Is that what they were called?
There was two of them.
Movie Minute.
Yeah. Malicious Movie Minute.
Gaming Savvy. We're never going to forget that, are we? Technically not our. No. The connection was there.
We had
Film
the Best Picture. Film Club
in various different. There were various different versions of Film Club.
There was the first one, which was the sister show to when we did everything at once, because we had a sister show on a Thursday, which was a lot of effort to get a random film watched every week. Yeah. I mean, I know that sounds a lot easier than what it is, but we didn't know what we were watching till like.
And now we've got the Reborn Film Club, which has been going on.
What other ones we had? I've had a couple of failures. We had the Rockathon, which did not last long at all.
We got the Marvel. Was it?
So that was when I tried to do 23 days of Marvel with approximately 3 days prep.
You got to 3 days, didn't you, or 4?
I mean, literally, like the idea is there to have done it maybe a month before Infinity War came out, not literally 23 days before. I was kind of doing them on the day. I was like, yeah, this isn't going to work.
Well, hopefully we'll learn from our mistakes when we come to do our
Chris
reviews.
Reacts, which hasn't been around for a while, has it, Chris?
Chris Reacts, yeah.
It still hasn't reacted to the Tenet trailer, has he?
I mean, a live reaction of the Tenet prologue.
Yeah, I was just going. Yeah, that was amazing. The thing is with the reactions, it just with the editing software I had, it would take literally an entire evening to get one video out, and then when you had like I don't know the Super Bowl spots and like 6 trailers would come out, and then after the day after that, you'd have 2 new trailers come out. It just got impossible to keep on top of. And, we talk about stuff periodically anyway on the channel, so people can get our thoughts on stuff.
We've got Star Wars month, which was we did that twice. We've got Harry Potter month, so I guess I'm actually on our playlist now. Tate's thoughts on films.
Yes, thoughts on films.
I don't know if it really counts. We had a Journey to the Last Jedi playlist. I don't really think that counts.
Basically, Star Wars month. I think.
You know, I was making the playlist today for
Zero, which has basically been reincarnated.
Yeah, as the drunk watch-alongs. I didn't realize you did a Star Wars Christmas special drunk watch-along because I typed in drunk into our videos made, and I was like, oh my god.
I did, and I still stand by that is the only way to get through Star Wars the Holiday Special.
I remember declining to go on that because I'd never seen it, and I just couldn't imagine watching it. I've avoided that for 24 years.
You have to. It is a rite of passage as any Star Wars fan.
I've seen so many clips of it, like but I've never sat down in its entirety. Like I've seen what I need to see. But yeah, there must be. We've got the Game of Thrones reviews count. That's technically a series.
Yeah, that was. We basically reviewed every episode.
Cinema Savvy News was a thing which I actually really enjoyed doing. It's just a lot of effort, which in theory I probably should go back to, but there's no film news in the world right now, so it's really pointless.
I mean, we got Taika Waititi making a new Star Wars film.
How many people are making a new Star Wars movie?
Elon Musk and Tom Cruise are making a film in space.
Yes, I heard about that. Did you, Chris?
No.
Tom Cruise wants to do a film in space, and Elon Musk to fly him up.
Wait, actually make a film?
Yeah.
Okay. Why not?
No, the Star Wars thing was funny because it came on StarWars.com. I was like, oh, an actual formal announcement, like. And I think they've got the script writer from 1917 to write it with him, which is pretty cool. But that was actual news, which just means they're clearly counting Star Wars Celebration because they would never, ever release news normally like that. Because Taika Waititi's a legend, and he's... You know what? For someone that won an Oscar for scripts, that he's kind of one of the most in-demand directors, and he's still picking Marvel and Star Wars, like fair play, because he's probably just doing the project he wants to do. He's still producing What We Do in the Shadows on TV. He's got this new football film coming out this year, which is a comedy with Michael Fassbender, which... I'm all for, but
I've got mixed feelings on the news of Taika Waititi getting a Star Wars thing because on the one hand he did he directed episode 1 and episode 8 of Mandalorian. I think
just episode 8.
They were good episodes.
Oh, just episode 8, which I thought was one of the strongest episodes in the entire series. I loved it. So, he's proven himself in the live action Star Wars world to some degree that he knows what needs to happen. However. And I don't even particularly hate this scene. I just think it clashes with the rest of the film. You have the opening stormtrooper shooting the shit scene, which is a fine scene. If you just take that scene out on its own, put it on YouTube, it's a fun, entertaining scene. However, it does kind of feel like an SNL skit. And having seen, I know it has its fans, but Thor Ragnarok, very much more comedic than any of the other Thor films, which I didn't like personally. I didn't think it worked for that character.
I went back and rewatched it.
Yeah,
like after watching Endgame and then going back to Thor Ragnarok, I feel like Thor Ragnarok was actually a better film.
Ragnarok is one of the strangest Marvel films I've seen because the first time I watched it, I'm actually not going to discuss what happened in the screening because I'll get done on YouTube. I'll tell you guys after we finish recording, actually. But it was half term and there were loads of school kids, and obviously I like going to the cinema by myself.
Oh God, John, what the fuck?
Whoa. So anyway, no, it was ruined for a start by like the little gobshites. So that was that bit. I'll tell you the bad thing after, which didn't involve anyone else actually. It was just more like an in-betweener sketch. So I didn't really like it the first time I watched it. I wasn't keen on Ragnarok. I was like, oh, it was okay. And then something happened like over the month. I remember rewatching. I was like, this is majestical. Like that was my word for it. Like I don't know if I was in full Jeff Goldblum hype. I don't know what it was, but out of nowhere, Thor Ragnarok was just like an experience. And every single time I've gone back to it since, I've just liked it more and more. I haven't ranked the Marvel films. That series, could have been a thing. Maybe it will be a thing, but we've missed our window of Endgame. That's probably between my top 5 and top 10 MCU, which I didn't think it would be 2 years ago. And Ragnarok's it's bizarre because, like I said, to have almost no connection to it, not disliking it, just not loving it. And it just happened overnight. I don't really get like that with films too much. Not that I'm arrogant, change my mind, but very much with Marvel, my opinion's never really changed on a Marvel film since the first time I watched it to the final time. Like even Age of Ultron, I remember the first ever video. If anyone really wanted to go back to that, I loved that. I saw that like 3 times. You know what? I have reminisced, and it's not as good as I said it was back then, but I don't think it's as bad as it was when I said how bad it was recently. So it's still not the best. There's a creepy subplot with Scarlett Johansson and Hulk. But if there's a positive to take from it, that film not being as good as it could have been also led way for the Russo brothers to take over for Infinity War.
I would actually want to go back and watch Age of Ultron. I still have only seen it the once when it came out, but now seeing where it's all got to with Endgame, I think it would be interesting to see those flash forwards they had and visions that set up Endgame and the storylines that followed it. My problem with Ragnarok, just going back to that really quickly, it being overly comedic, it had the opportunity to have so many grounded, serious moments. You can have your comedy, absolutely. It's a Marvel film, it's a Disney film, I get it, and humor still has its place in superhero films. You don't want to take it too dark and too seriously, but there were moments that should have reined it back and let those emotions play out without ending it with a Korg punchline. You know what I mean? Just that's sort of my thoughts on it. My favorite Thor movie, I know some people don't like the first one or the second one, in fact, and only like Ragnarok. It's still the first one. Kenneth Branagh. I think
my favorite Thor movie is Avengers: Infinity War.
Oh, that's
the best moment. It has the best moment
because that you could see that as either a Thor movie or a Thanos movie.
That's the best moment.
Those two are the main characters in those films.
And I don't think it's that much of a Thor film. It's just like, look at what we stumbled on with Ragnarok. Now let's capitalize on this, because it reinvented a character. I mean, I think it says quite a bit that Thor is getting a 4th film, and excluding Robert Downey Jr.'s comebacks into the shared films, no one's had an individual 4th film yet in the MCU. I don't want it to be a thing. I quite like the idea of trilogies sort of being it. You have your independent trilogy, and you can have your team up films, but I don't mind Thor because Taika's coming back, but also we're getting Christian Bale in a Marvel film. To this day, I will still say this. I don't know. I mean, I don't mean this on insulting. I love Taika Waititi. I just don't. Him and Christian Bale, I just feel like if something goes wrong, the world will find out about it. But at the same time, I'm very, very, very curious to see what it can be, because Christian Bale rejected $50 million to come back to play Batman. Said he was done. Then he comes out and is, hey, I'm in Marvel now, and all the release for Snyder cuts, you can hear that is.
No, we've moved on to release the JJ cut now, haven't we? Because that will clearly make episode 9 so much better.
The best news story I've seen in 2020 was Warner Brothers are funding the Snyder cuts. They are granting him access for the money. However, all the filming has been rescheduled due to coronavirus. I was like, yes, of course. Like,
divine intervention.
you know, like if after all these years, you know, there is a Snyder cut, I will watch it and I will go in neutral because I don't mind Zack Snyder. It's just the following. I know that as a Nolan fanboy, you know, I can't really talk about fanboy extremisms, but I've never once seen #release the Nolan cut of anything ever. I just think there's a lot of hopes on the Snyder cut, and you know, not to say it was the Phantom Menace, but if it turned out to be like one of them, like #release the JJ cut's the most insulting thing I've ever read because that film is definitely the JJ Abrams cut. It's just that your Raylo theory didn't. I mean, it did come true, but what you wanted from a Star Wars film is not.
I find it hilarious that they're able to piss off basically all the fans of Force Awakens, all the fans of Last Jedi, and all of the original series fans in one film.
See,
and I know people who like
an escalation,
film.
wasn't it? From movie to movie.
I know people who like the film unironically, and it's baffling. It's actually baffling.
A lot of the people I know that liked it are original trilogy fans, but older original trilogy fans, which I've got no issue with. But certainly the younger, our demographic, I don't think it took to it. The Raylos haven't took to it. There's a brilliant meme, which obviously I can't share for PG reasons, but it was this brilliant like photo, and it's like what Raylos thought they were getting, and what Raylos did get. What Raylos did get was just two people kissing. What Raylos thought they were getting was another image, which we definitely can't share. But you know, Rise of Skywalker is just it's a very.
It will be analysed till the end of time.
I don't think it will.
How inept from writing. Story, just everything about that movie. It is one of the most inept movies to ever get made, especially. But it's going to be a stain on Disney for ages that they funded that, and with all the resources in the world, they made that. But that's what you get when you have the
somehow like worse than Jurassic World. I'm only saying that because I'm scared of Jurassic World right now.
Jurassic World's an okay film, guys. It's a good blockbuster. You know, do you know what this coronavirus proves? If Jurassic Park had happened, some idiot would have opened Jurassic World. That's exactly what.
Yes.
You know, I like Jurassic World. I think there's a couple of things which I don't like. That girl got tortured. That was a bit much for me. When, you know, I know that Jurassic Park has we always kill an innocent person, but having like 10 pterodactyls like kicking at her, and that was just a bit too extreme.
But she wasn't even like a focal character. If that was like a horrible like side villain or something, got that kind of comeuppance, then yeah. But it was just literally a random member of the park. It was horrible.
Yeah, and I was like, I like Jurassic World. And you know what? Speaking of Jurassic World, speaking of Colin Trevorrow, I would have rather had, and this is the time I said that, I'd have rather had an awful, ambitious attempt at Episode 9.
Yeah,
and unfortunately,
I feel like it would have been more blockbustery. If Trevorrow,
I don't think it would have been more. I mean, I know Episode 9 tried to appease, but Trevorrow was going back to Coruscant. He was going to have Mace Windu's lightsaber appear. He was going to have Mortis for the people that know what that is, which would never ever have worked in live action. That's just another world, quite literally. And there's a line in the script that said, full caps, he has lost the Star War.
It does feel like it's written by a 2-year-old a little bit, I will say. In terms of certain inflections in the script, I have read the script. I have a lot of problems with it. However, I have fewer problems with it than I do with the Episode 9 that we got. Some characters just going to completely just like everything with Poe and Rey is absolutely diabolical in that Trevorrow script. I don't know if that was a first draft. I don't know if that's the one that they would have ran with, or if it would have had a few more tweaks. But I like Finn actually gets something to do. We kind of have a nice bookend with it when we go back to Coruscant, and you know, you've got your prequel Coruscant, and then we're seeing it in the sequel trilogy. So I still wouldn't have given a shit about any of the characters, but at least it probably wouldn't have left the stain on the franchise as Rise of Skywalker has at the moment. It's a sad thing with Rise of Skywalker.
Isn't it crazy that the way we're talking about Rise of Skywalker right now, it's crazy how that blame has kind of shifted away from Last Jedi, and I
Because
respect
The Last Jedi is a
It's
great
still there.
film.
It's still there for me.
I
I will never
respect Last
forget.
Jedi a lot more. I respect it a lot more. The moments where it's good, it's really good. The moments where it's bad, it's just bad. It isn't like it's terrible, awful bad. I can't even like
Ambitions.
Canto Bite, Tate. That was awful bad. What are you talking about?
Canto Bite was bad. It wasn't awful bad. Like
It's a subplot. I mean, we're not going to have a Last Jedi. I love it. We hate it debate. But what I would say, if I didn't like it, I think you guys were saying you can at least like respect it was trying to do something different.
yeah.
I think that's where the split comes from. That for a lot of people it didn't pay off, especially the Luke storyline, which
ironically was one of the plots that I didn't have a massive problem with in that film.
I think people expected Luke Skywalker to come back, and now I love Tron Legacy, and this has been on me for a few years now. They don't send Tron Legacy. Jeff Bridges comes back to play a character from 30 years ago. He is a god to these mortal people in the film, and he has disappeared for 30 years because his basically creation of someone he was training went wrong. Sounds very familiar. I'm not comparing the stories, but the way in which they're handled within the film is very, very different, very similar. But no one had their idea that Jeff Bridges was this immortal man for 30 years. They thought that Luke Skywalker, age 60, was going to literally be able to, I don't know, Master Yoda frog jump around a room, maybe? Like, what were they expecting? Like, it would have been the wrong choice.
Different Jedis have different abilities. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, and also, like, Luke's a murderer. I was like, no. It was like, there's a brilliant moment in which he explains it, where it's the whole, I had the instinct for a moment, blah, blah, blah. But I think that made Luke more interesting. I think it was more interesting to have a vulnerable old person in hiding because he failed. Granted, that's a very Star Wars thing. I think I'd have been more interested in I'm Mr. Perfect, watch me come back and save the day. Because then the moaning would have been, where have you been for 30 years? Do you know what I mean? Last Jedi is an interesting one. It's a very long discussion. One day maybe we could have a really good one on there.
Who made the map to Skywalker? I still want to know that. How was that a thing? It was just one of J.J. Abrams' fucking mystery MacGuffins, wasn't it? That we've got to go in hunt of.
I mean,
Who made the blade?
The blade.
Sorry. Who made the blade?
Oh, the Sith dagger.
The Sith dagger that was used from the broken up Death Star.
That's got
made to look old and ancient.
That's got the thing.
Death Star wouldn't have fallen off the very.
And they've got that thing that matches up and just they hit that like the hill and they line it up straight away. What if it was on the opposite side? Like it's just everything's just so convenient, but that's what you get.
Do they not know about like the ocean washing things into different places?
Exactly. Maybe it was the will of the
drift?
Force. How about that? Because that's just like what we go to, isn't it? When we can't think of something. Maybe it was the Force, a foresight that made that dagger. Who knows? Who were the Sith Eternals? Find out by buying the visual dictionary now only $14.99.
It still doesn't help. The thing, the Sith Eternals is like that's actually a cool concept, you know. If it wasn't 3,000 random people in the gladiator arena at a random entrance point, you're like, oh, there's a crowd. You've ever seen Pan, where Hugh Jackman starts singing "Smells Like Teen Spirits" like thousands of people? I had that moment. I was like, where the hell did all these people come from? They're all chanting for the Emperor. It's like Peter Pan all over again. Like, can you imagine the Sith Eternals?
Girls.
It's just
imagine him having cheerleaders.
I think everyone said the same joke. Did they buy tickets to go into the arena? Like, was it limited capacity? Like
handing out black robes when they walked in.
Like, the Genosians just fly in during Attack of the Clones and fly out when it starts. But
and it was like a stadium, wasn't it? It was like the Super Bowl where the ceiling opens up so we can have that Return of the Jedi moment about look at your friends dying.
I do. I mean, I don't like it, but I love the dubstep lightning because, like, wow, it's getting dubstep in 2020.
I will say there are moments, completely dumb, awful moments, but moments that are really fun to watch, and that is probably one of the moments that I have watched the most on YouTube. That select individual moment is the dubstep lightning.
There's in loads of like Battlefront meme videos. Obviously, they do it, but you know, they turn the volume up, so it's like inaudible. They've been doing it. Another thing, I mean, we won't talk too much on because we've got a load of questions now. One thing I will finally say in Rise of Skywalker, one of my favorite ever Star Wars shots is Richard E. Grant running away and an explosion put him through a glass window at like 500 miles an hour. It reminds me of like, you know, at Man of Steel, like whenever they start punching each other, they go through like buildings at 500 miles an hour. It's like, that's the closest Star Wars can get. But let's jump to the comments because we have a couple of questions. So Henok, Tom Hardy, is he charismatic?
Well, I have brought the very definition up of charismatic in preparation for this. It's exercising a compelling charm which inspires devotion in others.
I feel he's enigmatic more so than charismatic.
Yeah.
If you're going with the whole kind of, I mean, James Bond, right, we'd say is charismatic sometimes. I mean, he should be. That's his character. So if we're going with that, I think he can be. I think when you, it depends on the role. I honestly do think it depends on the role. I don't think he could inherently play. We talked this like about Bond, who could play Bond, and Tom Hardy's name gets thrown around a lot of the time. I don't think he's charismatic enough to play Bond. But I think I have seen him in roles before where he has been charismatic, not to the degree. It depends on the role, is my answer essentially.
Tayte?
Yeah, I wouldn't really say he was charismatic. Like, he is a character actor. Mm-hmm. He is able to morph into these various different roles or anything like that. But there's one thing about him that he doesn't quite have, which is that kind of overly suave nature. He's quite a rugged actor in every single film. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's very difficult. Like, yeah, I wouldn't say overly charismatic, but a great character actor.
Mm-hmm.
Right, so another one. Henok's given all of us. The Slider Cut, is it available? The 2-letter answer is no. But don't let the fact that every single Justice League actor keeps tweeting videos saying they've seen it. Speaking of Justice League videos on Twitter, if you haven't seen the Ezra Miller's Prism audition, it's very much worth a watch. Don't ever ask him for an autograph in a shop. That's what. Why do you think Cats is a good movie, guys? Did you say this when you were drunk? Because
no. We never, at no stage in my life have I ever said Cats was a good movie. I want to go on record for that.
I think there's an argument you could have to say it's so bad it's good, because it's just...
No, it's bad, dude. It's bad. You had to drink heavy amounts of alcohol to actually get through it.
It is, but I would be lying if I said like the day after it didn't leave some kind of impact, and I just had to go back and watch some of the songs from it just to like sink in what I actually watched the night before, and that it wasn't all like some horrid fever dream. Yeah, exactly.
Comment from Sophie regarding Jurassic franchise. How have they not learnt their lesson? Leave the dinos be. Trust me, like when Donald Trump's saying he's going to reopen America on Easter, which didn't actually happen, think about how many more millions of people have probably died by now. So if anything, it just gets more real as it goes along. What I will say about Jurassic Park is I still love dinosaurs. Like, I know, again, I like Jurassic. I think one of the reasons I like Jurassic World is because one day I just wish I could go to a theme park where there was real dinosaurs. Like, not to think of Norbit memes, but when there's all the little kids riding like the Triceratops, like that's such an incredible moment. And it just made me think of Norbit, where there's that girl riding the pony, and Eddie Murphy's just sat there like, I feel your pain. And I love dinosaurs. I didn't mind Jurassic World 2. I didn't like it that much, but I'm more intrigued with the idea now that for the next one, dinosaurs are roaming the earth. I know they keep telling us that, but maybe for this one they really are. And in true America fashion, I wonder if like there's like hunters that go around just shooting them, like trying to.
I mean, that movie is just. It's going to be all kinds of dumb. I'm looking forward to seeing dinosaurs react. I mean, we did kind of get that a little bit with the end of The Lost World Jurassic Park, didn't we? With the T-Rex in, is it San Francisco or I can't remember whereabouts they were at the end of that movie. So we have seen a glimpse of that, but from like the ending trailer sting almost of movie 2, where we see it kind of taking effect, it is going to be interesting. But if you look back at that original Jurassic Park film, and I think we need to resign ourselves to the fact that we are never going to get another movie like the first Jurassic Park film. We just need to accept that.
I think that's because the sense of wonder was with that first film. Like,
exactly,
the big draw in there was, look at this, it looks amazing. Past that, I'll be honest, the plot to the first Jurassic Park film, not very strong.
No, but I think there were interesting themes in there. There were ideas and questions and morality and is it ethical to do this and stuff. And that was in the first movie. And then as the movies have gone on, you've kind of broken away from that. And it's literally just a dino action movie now, to the point where we've exhausted all the real life dinosaurs. In the previous 2 movies, we're having to conjure completely.
Oh my God, you just reminded me. I can't even remember the name of the second Jurassic World film. It was that bad.
Was it Evolution or was that a game?
Fallen Kingdom?
Fallen King. It was.
Fallen
Kingdom.
There wasn't really sad shot though of
There's two things I remember. yeah, two things I remember from that film is that the kid was a clone at the end of the film, and they had the weird dinosaur auction.
Yeah,
with
so
Toby
you had
Jones.
the Endoraptor where it smirks at the camera. It gives like an evil smirk at the camera. Do you remember that part?
Yeah,
You've got the guy who plays Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs trying to like kill it, and the dinosaur's like pretending to be asleep or unconscious. Then it like looks up at the camera and gives like an evil smirk. I was just like, this is the dumbest film I've seen in my life.
Oh my God, imagine if it winked.
It basically does. It basically does. It's so bad. So bad. I know a lot of people though that really find the Brachiosaurus scene upsetting from that film. You know that one Brachiosaurus that like dies on the island.
Yeah, but they only said afterwards that it was the same one.
Same one. Yeah.
Like they said it afterwards.
The same one.
It's the same Brachiosaurus as the reveal shot from the first Jurassic Park movie.
How would you know it's the same one?
Because they came out and said it was the same one.
and said it was the same one.
I just thought
There was a visual dictionary, George, that was released that stated that it was the same Brachiosaurus.
I didn't know that. Well, that's actually annoyed me a bit. I like that scene. That was one of my favorite scenes. It's just really sad when it just disappears into the smoke.
Yeah.
Did anyone see the Jurassic Park short film that Colin Trevorrow did last year?
No, I didn't. I missed that.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
actually quite good.
It did look good.
I mean, you say low budget short film, but they managed to get a CGI dinosaur in there still. So I don't know
Are
how.
they still talking about doing that TV show? I heard there were rumors of a Jurassic Park TV show happening.
There's an animated one coming to Netflix or something.
That might be it. That might be it.
The short film kind of looked like a horror film.
Yeah, it was shot at night in dark. It's kind of like people at a trailer park, dinosaurs get involved, short 10-minute scene. It was really good. It came out of nowhere. No one knew what was happening. It just got released. So I'd have a quick check at that. We're going to get to something a bit funner. Do we think Nicolas Cage should play the role of Tiger King if they make a series or movie?
They are.
I'll say if has become when. It's kind of so. There's what is it? There's two Tiger King shows happening, right? You've got the one was announced yesterday with Nicolas Cage, and then I've forgotten her name from SNL. Guys, you've seen Ghostbusters 2016. Who was the blonde one that was apparently the only
Kate McKinnon?
Yeah, Kate McKinnon is playing Carol Baskin, which they announced last December in a TV series. She's announced she's going to be writing. So there's a couple of things. The idea of Nicolas Cage never came to me until he was cast as it. I don't quite see it, but I can just... Apparently it's Nicolas Cage's first ever TV role.
The energy he's going to bring to it is going to be mental. Like, honestly.
I can't see him, like, facially, but I can see him, you know, in the gift shop. There's been an accident. I can see every moment that happened in the series being done by Nicolas Cage, but just not a faithful adaptation. But he's not going to look like Joe Exotic, but you don't care because it's Nicolas Cage doing it instead. So I'm actually really intrigued to see that.
I mean, they are
totally cashing in, aren't they? They're totally cashing in on the Tiger. That's the only reason that this is getting made. But I'm with George. He won't look like him, but I mean, Nicolas Cage hasn't really had many hitters recently, and he's always at his best when he's playing a completely ridiculous animated character. So who's more ridiculous and animated than Joe Exotic, right? So
I mean, if he pulls off like a role like in Kick-Ass, where like I really kind of liked his character developed in the film, he had the right amount of crazy in there and stuff like that, but he also felt like a grounded enough character, a bit like Joe Exotic. I wonder whether he'll put on an accent for it or not.
So we'll stick in Tiger King. Jake says, who should play Jeff Lowe? He put James Spader. Now, James Spader...
no, that's James Spader. For Jeff Lowe.
I wouldn't say James Spader. I would love to see James Spader in more things because I think he's criminally underused and he has such a unique voice. If anyone's not seen him in The Office, I definitely recommend that because he is very funny in it. He's like, don't fuck with the Lizard King or something. He's a weird guy, and I love him as well. He's great as Ultron. He's the voice that Ultron needed, to be fair. I don't know who should play Jeff Lowe. I can't. Nothing really strange. Just like blatant paedophile. Like there's not really...
I know the guy who played the CIA agent should be played by the same guy from I, Tonya. I can't remember his name. He was also in something last year. I think that's perfect casting if they're able to get him.
What about the guy from Black Klansman who's in that Richard Jewell?
Yeah, that's the guy I'm talking about.
Oh, is it the one that looks exactly like Andy Signal that used to be off screen?
Yeah,
that happens. But I
He's
didn't.
back now, isn't he? He's back now.
He set up his own channel, and everyone else he's innocent. Blah 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 blah. That kind of. We won't go into it in too much detail.
No.
There is news out there. It's actually quite sad when you think about it. But this whole thing's a bit of a screen. I think Screen Junkies wise, I don't really watch anymore. But the best one, Dan Murrell just left, who was like the father of it. Who's
he started a new channel, I think.
Yeah, like his knowledge of film was just head and shoulders above anyone. He kind of said that he left on good terms, but he wanted to go in a different direction to do more niche things that he wants to do rather than commercialize. So much respect for him for that. Do you have any other jokes or questions before we change the subject?
Imagine if they got someone like Guy Fieri to play.
He will never financially recover from this.
Can you imagine when Joe Exotic gets out of prison? Like he'll meet everyone that's played him in the film. He'll be at conventions. Joe Exotic will be everywhere.
When he gets out of prison, and I'm sure he'll get a reduced sentence and stuff like that, or he'll get his case is actually getting brought up again. And Carol Baskin's case has been reopened, which is hilarious.
Yeah, he'll be at like Comic Cons and everything. He'll be bringing in baby tigers, get a photo taken with a baby tiger. and you'd do it, and you'd be lying if you said you wouldn't do it.
That's the thing. Like, we know how conventions get photo op, but not just jokes. You know how it's like Chris Evans and a shield, and a helmet. Here is Joe Exotic and real tiger. It's like.
So can we get a group photo deal with Carol Baskin and
sardine oil? He's got if Carol Baskin did it, show her husband in his weird what was his costume?
I would want to play Bhagavan Antal. I'd want Jonah Hill. Genuinely, I think he would bring a lot of fun to the performance. I
don't see him as Bhagavan Antal.
Someone put what's his name? Will Ferrell, but I don't think it'd work. I could see it.
I could see Will Ferrell.
I could see him playing it, but I couldn't see it working. But I don't know who would play Doctor, because the thing is, Doctor Bhagavan probably would be a bit of a what's the word?
I'm gonna look up. I want to see online now what people's dream casts are.
Would he play Bhagavan like he does Gator in is it The Other Guys, where he's with what's his name?
Yeah.
Like, Gator don't play. Gator don't take no shit.
Will Ferrell's such a strange actor because he can be funny, but
he's hit and miss.
Yeah,
he is.
I could see him as Bhagavan, but then I could see it go maybe in the Kate McKinnon one, which is probably going to be a comedy.
Someone's put Steve Martin down as Doc Antle.
He's a bit old, isn't he?
He is a bit old.
I'm trying to. It's really hard to think. There's probably someone really obvious who is the most obvious casting in the world, but it's just not there in your head. I'm just trying to.
Dave Bautista as John Finlay. I'm sorry. I'm seeing the comparison up on my screen right now, and oh my god! Wait a sec. Am I able to? Wait a sec. I need to share the screen on this. Wait a sec. I've completely forgotten how to share screen. There we go. There we go. So for people to have a look here, would you look at that?
Oh wow!
Tayte looks really strange there. What's happened to his eyebrows?
I have no idea.
Photoshop. I mean, he's got the tattoos as well already. Like he's had loads of tattoos over the years. Of wrestling, the guy is an absolute unit. But
we got a few more suggestions in here. Some good, some bad. They say Sam Rockwell.
No, I don't see that.
No, I don't see that. Oh, Haley Joel.
Actually, that's not a bad shout.
That's a brilliant shout. Oh my god.
Right.
What could be?
So we have a couple more comments. I'm scrolling back up to jump because I will think there was something Tiger King. Who made the intro logo?
George, it was you, wasn't it? Did you download? I think
I downloaded it.
Didn't you?
Yeah, I got a template, which is the cinema thing. So I'm never going to take full credit for that. And then I basically just, when we created the logo for the channel, I don't think we have a copy of it anyway, but the original.
God!
Logo existed for.
I just remembered that.
That's definitely deleted off everywhere. But I created the Facebook logo, which I'm very surprised we've never changed it. The thing is, like, I don't want to sound arrogant, but I wouldn't want to change it because it's so simple, plain. It does the job. You don't need to update it. That's my sort of main vibe with it. But the intro video, yeah, I can't take credit for that. I literally just chucked a logo on top of a cinema screen. What I will take credit for is the awful Rockathon one, because I put the music in and did the little scratch noise and played the Rock's theme tune, which was one of the most visually satisfying things I've ever done in my life. But alas, there are 5 videos for someone desperate enough to find them.
That's a good question, actually. I don't think we've had that one before.
No, we haven't. Is there any more questions, guys? Oh, wait, yes.
I believe a couple.
Shout out to Brinsley, who joined not too long ago. Better late than never.
Who should play Nosferatu?
Ooh.
Wasn't Robert Egger doing it? Wasn't Robert Egger doing it? But then they've said he's doing something else now. Like, he's been trying to get this done for quite a while, hasn't he?
I don't think Nosferatu should be remade.
I seriously think, Stephen, after watching Jojo Rabbit, I know there's a comedic side to his character in that, but he's so tall and fucking gangly. Like, he would perfectly play that role.
What's his name? The guy that does all the roles like that, Doug Jones?
Oh, yeah. I don't think they would, because could you imagine on like a movie poster, Doug Jones is Nosferatu? Like, he'd probably dress up as him, but I mean, it wouldn't be a silent movie. I'm sure they'd probably add like a whole story and love subplot into it, probably, and it'd be awful. But I could see Doug Jones doing it. Guillermo del Toro's.
What about Paul Bettany?
Oh, that's not. Yeah, I could see that. That's a good shout.
Paul Bettany, I think, is a very underrated actor. I think, luckily, he's not too tied down with Marvel that he never has had to, because obviously he took on the voice role that just ended up expanding into Vision. But I think he's someone that we don't really see him enough, but he also, I think, picks his projects.
Yeah,
doesn't he?
Whoever you cast is going to be under like layers and layers of makeup anyway. But no, I
need the physical presence.
I could see Bettany doing it, because he has got that. He can play like a really nice character, but he also does have that like really good intensity. Even in Solo, I thought he was the best thing in Solo.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I know the story about Solo. I'm not going to drop any sources, but like I'm not that kind of thing. But so there was originally an actor who was going to play like a half monster, half thing,
like a lion thing, wasn't it? Was it?
Yeah. So when Ron Howard took over, obviously, quotes, there was a filming schedule. There wasn't a filming schedule. I didn't like dropping gossip like this, so I'm not going to reveal any names. But he was caught getting high across the filming many times in his trailer at Pinewood. And when the chance came to reset, they just got rid of him straight away because there'd been a lot of issues outside of production. So the lesson of the story is, if you're going to be in a Star Wars film, maybe don't get high in your caravan outside the studio, because...
No, you do it at the after party, right? Which I'm sure everyone's doing at that point.
Did he come up to him and go, "Hey, you want some death sticks?"
Nosferatu. I don't know enough about Nosferatu to even take a guess. We've got some more comments. They're really coming in now, actually. I'm trying to scroll back up. Whatever possessed Tom Cruise to go to space while shooting a sci-fi movie? It's
biggest stunt.
Escalation.
Right?
There was 2 answers. It was either going to be Tom Cruise first or Dominic Toretto. It was going to be Fast and Furious go to space, or it was going to be Tom Cruise. Fast and Furious would have done it via green screen, but we know that Tom Cruise is going to fly.
Would they make it as part of a Mission Impossible film?
No, I think it'd be. The thing is, if he's going to go to space, sure, it'd have to be like a drama. It couldn't be like
it'd be like, they're basically going to do a live shot-for-shot remake of Gravity, but actually make it happen.
It'd be like the Moonraker of the Mission Impossible franchise, wouldn't it? It'd be great.
It'd be beautiful.
Why not? Maybe when we get to Mission Impossible 10 and we've completely ran out of ideas and places to go to and everything, then we'll go to space.
Okay.
Imagine if Mission Impossible did actually reach. It was the final of the film. Like, what was his impossible mission? To get to space, and that's the end of his character arc. He just never comes back.
Who should play Wally West / The Flash? Well, it ain't going to be Ezra Miller now, is it? Now he's choke slamming people to the ground.
That's a good question. I
think Grant Gustin, guy who plays it on the TV show. Perfect character casting.
Until they sort of ran all the shows into the ground, I would have said Grant Gustin. Now, I mean, Flash isn't really a character I've ever gravitated towards. I just, don't get me wrong, I like simple, boring characters, but someone that can just run quick, it's a difficult one. I don't have as much connection to him. I liked Grant Gustin on the Flash show, but I would struggle to know who to pick. But yeah, I'm with Chris. It cannot be Ezra Miller, because
I'd like to see someone a little less wimpy, I think, in the role. Kind of like how they cast Chris Evans as Captain America. I know they like digitally swapped his body and everything, but someone who can progress from maybe that kind of character, but also has the look to be that imposing figure in the suit. Because if you Google image search like a picture of the Flash from the comics, dude is shredded. Like, dude looks like Superman. And you know, Grant Gustin looks like a sack of potatoes in that costume, doesn't he, from the TV show? I know that's TV show budget and whatever, but he doesn't look like an imposing member of the Justice League kind of character. So I'm guessing why they've done that in the movies is just to differentiate, so you don't have like a load of muscle-bound guys, you know, like Batman, Superman, Green Lantern, or whatever. They have to make someone who's a bit wimpy.
Let's go with Zac Efron then. He would bring comedy to the character.
Has he done any serious roles before? Like properly serious? I know you've got stuff like Greatest Show.
That murder one. What was that murder one?
Yeah, he did. He did the Ted Bundy one recently.
I haven't seen that.
He's meant to be very good in it. Incredibly wicked and evil, isn't it?
Yes, that was
it. Just became one of them films where, not to sort of generalize, but suddenly like Ted Bundy was an attractive murderer, girls wanted allowed to murder them. Stuff like that is just no.
I was going to say, like, there was always. I've seen a couple of documentaries on him. He had fangirls. Just saying.
Yeah,
he did,
and that's why he got to kill so many, because
he was conventionally an attractive guy. That's why he managed to get away with so much shit. Like,
and he had charisma, didn't he?
Yeah.
That's why
he even tried to represent himself in his court case, which is why he's in jail now, because he probably would have got away with it if he's
dead, isn't he?
He's dead, yeah.
Yeah. No, as in he would have got away with it.
If it weren't for them meddling kids.
I will say, though, guy was dedicated. When he broke out of prison, he lost like 6 stone or something in prison so he could squeeze through a hole in the ceiling to get out. And he got out. He escaped. I think he escaped prison like twice or something, didn't he? So it's mental.
Sorry, guys. I'm just scrolling back because if anyone got some more questions, I have been trying to find our old logo, and I'm currently down to our Facebook chat shared images back to 2016. So I'm in a year and a half away. Comment from Henok: who should play Batman if not Pattinson?
Oh my God, that is a.
I've already had so many. Who would have been the obvious choice? I mean, I don't want to say Ben Affleck and give him a fair shot, because I kind of do. But
see how old this guy is. Oh, he's too old. I think he could have played a great sort of aged Batman. John Hamm, I think, would have been a good Batman, maybe back in the day, 10 years ago.
He could have pulled off the Bruce Wayne as well as the. To me, like with Batman, you need to do both Bruce Wayne and Batman. Like, I think you can have anyone in the world to do the Batman suit, because you just need a good chin for that. But if you can pull off the Bruce Wayne with it, to me, I think that makes all the difference in the world.
I think Clive Owen would have made a good aging Batman.
I don't see him as Batman. He's guy's dropped off the face of the earth, hasn't he? I don't even remember the last thing that Clive Owen was in. Was it Children of Men? It may be Children of Men. Maybe that was the last thing that I remember him in.
No, he was in. He was in what's it called? The terrible
Gemini
movie, Gemini Man. He was in
that
last year.
He was in the trailer.
I haven't seen that film, but I know he was in that film. He's been doing TV recently. That's why he did American Crime Story, entire series of that.
I really can't think of another Batman.
It's really tough. It's really tough to think.
That's actually a really good question. Sophie, about Henry Cavill, not because I'm insanely in love with him. Henry Cavill is a specimen. He's unfortunately not had the Superman. I mean, I like Man of Steel, but just again, it's the same for Affleck. The run they had as that character, it unfortunately wasn't what they deserved. I think both deserved. Affleck, we've said this so many times, Affleck only took that role because he clearly wanted to direct it as well as obviously play it. I don't think he would have done that. I don't think he'd have took on the acting role without the directing, vice versa. And I think the moment he dropped off, oh no, guys, sorry, I've scrolled back. We don't have the first ever logo on our chat. I would literally scroll back 5 years worth of shared photos of me and Chris.
It deletes it after a certain while, I think, doesn't it? The Facebook.
No, I've literally got to 2015. There's a golden logo.
I'm gonna have a look. I don't think I've got it on mine. I think I deleted it too.
There's an image no one will ever see, which is a fair way to put it.
Lost to time.
Right, what else do we have? So, Ben Affleck clearly missed his Batman mark. Ben Affleck can suck it, says Sophie. Brinty says it's got to be Henry Cavill if Sophie gets away. I'm guessing that's to play Batman. I don't know. I'm really excited for Rob Pattinson. I'm good. I mean, it makes sense. It's been delayed, but they've moved. It's like October, November next year now, which if it's going to be like gothic and punky, that kind of, I know it's a bit weird, but you know how like Joker would have been weird if it came out in summer last year instead it was like winter, you know, it's dark.
Halloween kind of date, wasn't it?
Yeah, like I think if Batman takes that, that's just going to be quite nice. I know that's a strange thing to come. It's kind of like Star Wars, where like, yes, May was Star Wars' release date, but December was like, it felt like Star Wars. It was Christmas. And that's also why Solo flopped. That's why the world allowed Aquaman to make over $1 billion, because there wasn't a Star Wars film out that December. And now there's going to be another Aquaman film because...
Look, the first Aquaman film wasn't that bad.
Oh, yes, it was. Oh, yes, it was.
It wasn't that
bad.
It was bad. It wasn't that bad.
At least they're not going to be able to bring back... what's her name? She won't be coming back to the sequel. Yeah.
Oh, no, she will not be coming back to the sequel.
I just remember the...
If they do, I will boycott.
I think a lot of people... I think we don't really get into like court politics, but then everyone remembers that San Diego 2017, Warner Brothers had a panel. The first film of the night was Aquaman. The second film was Fantastic Beasts, and it was the first time those two had been in a room for quite a while. And obviously, they were kept well apart from each other. I think famously, did they always talk about what's his name, Bronn from Game of Thrones and Lena Headey? He's come out in an interview saying that it was blown out of proportion, that they actually got on fine and they did some scenes together. But then, like, it was spoken about for such a long time.
Jerome Flynn, never have I been more envious of a man in my life than I have.
Sophie, can't wait for Halloween. Hopefully, quarantine will be over by then. Christ, I think quarantine will be over, but it's whether they're allowing like gatherings, because I kind of want to go out this year. Like, do I continue to grow a beard?
Yes.
Yes. Because I have never. This is the longest it's ever been. I'm approaching 4 weeks, which was the same as it was 4 weeks ago until I cocked up a trim and just went right. We go again.
That's the problem. When that happens, you can't recover from it. There is no way.
Damage is done. It's like you know, videos of like girls that cut their hair and it's like gone from 94 centimeters to 93, and they all start crying, so shave their heads off. It's kind of like one of them.
Issues. We'll probably go on for like another 10 minutes or so. Brinsley's got a good question here. Have you been watching any TV shows recently? I just started watching Westworld season 3. I actually haven't. I've seen the original film Westworld, but I still haven't watched the TV series. I've heard around season 2, season 3, it started getting a bit SJW a little bit throughout the series. I've heard rumors of that, but for me, I've been watching Better Call Saul season 5. All 10 episodes are out by now. I was very, very late to the party on it, but I've watched episode 1 so far, so still got a long way to go, but it was good getting back into it. The problem is with that show is that it goes away for like 2 years, and then you kind of have to remember where it ended off and everything. So yeah, I've been watching that. I've been going through Tiger King again. I'm on episode 3, and obviously Clone Wars is the big one that just wrapped up as of yesterday. So that was another one I was watching.
I finished my binge of Even Stevens, one of the greatest shows of all time to grow up with. Shia LaBeouf was honestly one of the best like young comedic actors of a generation. I adore him. I feel that if he'd have gone the comedy path rather than Indiana Jones and Transformers, he could have had a very different career. But it's not really looking at ifs and buts. But Even Stevens is now on UK Disney Plus. What else have I seen? Clone Wars, the same with Chris. I managed to binge in 7 seasons a couple of months ago to catch up. Well, 6 seasons. I'm not going to do a Clone Wars review, but check out the last 4 episodes if you just want to get like a film basically watched. Any of the Tiger King? I mean, we've all done a review on it, so I don't know if that counts because everyone knows we've seen it. I've not watched much TV. I've restarted Star Wars Rebels today, but I in the midst of it, I'm looking for something new to watch. I watched Tron Uprising, which I was messaging you guys about. If anyone likes Tron, I really like the Tron franchise. It's Disney's second only original franchise, live action, and it's the one they've kind of like been hell-bent on destroying. I understand if it was 20th Century Fox, but it's Tron Legacy was a big hit. Here's Tron 3. Oh, look, Tomorrowland failed. Goodbye, Tron 3. Like, what? Like, what's that got to do with anything? It would be like cancelling Indiana Jones 5 because Marvel 54 didn't make $2 billion. Do you know what I mean? It's just nonsense. But Tron Uprising is really good. I'm not too sure what else have I seen. Tayte, you watch more TV than me. What have you seen?
Yeah, I've been watching through a lot of stuff. So I rewatched the entirety of Community in the space of 3 weeks. So that's 6 seasons of Community in 3 weeks. That was
an easy one to marathon, isn't it?
It's so good just to rewatch and everything like that. And do you know, in previous times I haven't enjoyed watching back through series 4. That's always kind of the dip in the series, and then it kind of picks up again. But honestly, this time watching back through it, season 4, when you're binging it, when you're going back to back, season 4 just flies by. Like, you barely notice that it's a bad series or anything like that. I rewatched Russian Doll as well. That is a very good limited series of people.
I will watch that.
Very, very good limited series of people want to watch that. And then we'll get to the one which I'm currently on right now. If you want TV whiplash, here's what you do. You watch one episode of New Girl, and then you watch another episode of The Thick of It. And you alternate between the two of them, like I've been doing this week.
Russian Doll. So the writer,
Yes.
the showrunner for the new Star Wars series, which they also announced yesterday.
Oh, she is.
I don't know her name.
Oh, shit. Yeah, no,
so
good. Really
she's-
good. Happy with that. Yeah.
Writing, producing her own series, not set in the main saga. It's going to be
Yeah.
a non-saga thing. And she was at the episode 9 premiere. You know, Ewan McGregor spent 5 years doing interviews. Are you playing Obi-Wan? Oh, no, I'd love to, though, wouldn't I? Disney, if you're watching, please hire me. And it's that whole he signed up 5 years ago kind of awkward interview. She was at the LA premiere for Rise of Skywalker, and not to sound rude, showrunning Russian Doll doesn't really have a connection to Lucasfilm. So when someone like that rocks up at premiere and does an interview, like, would you ever work on Star Wars? She goes, all they've got to do is call me because I love Star Wars, that's why I'm here. And it's like, actually, you probably signed up to do Star Wars, which is why you're at Star Wars premiere. It's on my Netflix watch list. I have, so I'm trying to get my sister to watch What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah.
I'm trying. We've watched the first 2 episodes because it's very funny, and I want to watch all 10 because season 2 started airing. But also, I'm being polite and patient and waiting. But if anyone hasn't seen What We Do in the Shadows, do watch the film and the series. I think there's a spin-off of The Wells, but I'm not watching that, so I'm hearing it's good because I don't want it to taint my opinion.
I will say with Russian Doll, for people who don't actually know what Russian Doll is basically the setup for it is basically a lived I repeat kind of Groundhog Day styled episodic structure of a person who's basically she's gone into a party and it's a midlife crisis and it seems to be repeating itself. And the various different episodes, she meets other people who may have the same kind of problems as her. There's various different ways that she ends up dying, and just the whole kind of avoiding being killed ends up killing her in various different situations and everything like that. It works on inevitability, nihilism, depression, suicide. It works with a lot of heavy material, but handles it really, really well. The dialogue within it is really slick, really quick. And it's really, really good show. It's only got like 8 episodes or something like that, maybe even 10 episodes, but it is a fantastic show from start to finish. And the ending kind of, I wouldn't say it leaves you on a cliffhanger, but it makes you kind of question the entire series in itself. So I think as far as her writing with Taika Waititi, I feel combining those two together
On a different project.
different projects. Okay,
She's
that's fine.
in her own thing that's not a film.
I think her own thing's going to be there's got to be someone in there who's quite a fast talker or something like that. Someone who is good with dialogue, good with conversation, everything like that. It won't be like The Mandalorian where the character barely speaks at all. It's going to be a character who ends up speaking a lot, who's going to be the main focus of the series.
Sorry. No, go on.
I was going to say, anyone that has Disney Plus, a new Disney series started. There's 2 actually. One is the Mandalorian behind the scenes show, which has only took 4 months to come out. There's going to be 8 episodes, 1 each week. Episode 1 was Jon Favreau did a series many years ago called Dinner for Five, where it was him and 5 celebrities. It's basically that Jon Favreau is doing a roundtable Episode 1 was on. They had all the directors, and they were all talking and stuff. Went about their career, their stories on set. It wasn't forced behind the scenes of when it's really. It was really good to work on Star Wars. This Star Wars was amazing because this was the opposite. You had like Taika Waititi taking the mick, Dave Filoni like being a nerd. They were all asking like about the day he met George Lucas. I can never pronounce his surname. Rick Fayem, who did 2 episodes. Deborah Chow. Very different behind the scenes to what you normally get given. Seemed a bit more open, and I think that's more a Jon Favreau thing where he's probably got the power to do his own thing. Mm-hmm. But episode 1's worth watching. There's this amazing moment where Bryce Dallas Howard says that she was took to Japan when she was a kid. She was 5 or 6. So she didn't obviously know her dad was like Ron Howard. And she said that she went out for a meal with George Lucas and Akira Kurosawa. And she had no idea who that was for many years. And all the other directors were sat there on the table like, what? Like, she was 5 years old and she went out for a meal with Akira Kurosawa. That's pretty cool. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's worth watch. I want a proper drama to watch. I keep saying every year I'm going to watch The Wire. I started The Americans, which I really wanted to watch, which I was enjoying. I just got distracted by something else. I can't remember what actually it was, but there's a lot of things out. We've all got a bit more time. So I think TV is getting this big crowd now. I think like streaming services are all on the up and everything. So it's what's powering people through, I guess.
And I think we'll finish on one more question, then we'll take off. Really, really quick. I thought this was a good one to end on. Question from Brinsley again. If you could erase one movie from history, what would it be and why?
One. Is there an impact of removing the one?
I guess just...
I pick Bonnie and Clyde to be completely chaotically evil.
Why would you do that?
Because then none of the movies nowadays would exist in their same form.
That's a good point. It's movie single, so you can't do like a trilogy. If a trilogy is bad, you can't get rid of it. It's got to be
like
one.
Say there was a rubbish like second one, you can't delete that because then there's a third one. Okay.
Yeah.
Honestly, Cats.
Really boring, easy answer.
Really? Oh no! Come on, Tayte. Come on.
I feel like Cats would do enough damage within modern day. Kind of like no one needed it because if
Cats
we delete
probably damaged itself in terms.
If we erase it from existence, then maybe the other version exists.
But Tayte, if we erased it from existence, that we probably wouldn't have done the drunk watch-alongs.
Yeah, good point.
It's like it's really easy for me to say episode 9, but I won't say it because I want the experience of a bad Star Wars film, and I don't want to relive queuing 20 hours to get into a red carpet. It's a really good question.
It is. That's why I wanted to do it.
It's one film. It's not like it's a franchise. It's a singular film. Oh no, sorry, I've picked it. This is Justice for Cinema. I'll let both of you guys bet first. Which film is George going to pick?
Oh, you've just looked at your shelf, right? So it's got to be something on your shelf that you have.
Well, it could be the impact of another film on my shelf.
Oh, it's not a James Bond. Is it Quantum of Solace?
No, I quite like Quantum of Solace, to be honest.
No, go on.
Quantum of Solace? Christ, that's... Tayte, what do you think this?
I'm clueless on this one.
Shape of Water.
Oh, yes.
It didn't just steal Christopher Nolan's Best Director; it also robbed 3 billboards of Best Film. So that's
I'm willing to go with then Crash, I guess, for robbing Brokeback Mountain. Yeah,
I'm just gonna go. It's obvious where I'm going. Indiana Jones 4: King of the Crystal Skull. The feelings I felt, I mean, were resurrected again when we did the drunk watch along. But I tell you what, those feelings were amplified to the nth degree when I first saw that movie. And it's like for me, the pain is still too real. I will never fully recover from that pain.
I'm never going to financially recover from it.
Exactly. And on that Joe Exotic bombshell, I should probably round off because we've been going for over an hour now. So yeah, we will be back in 2 days' time for our official 5-year anniversary on the channel, where we'll be hosting, we'll be the quiz masters of Cinema Savvy Quiz, which will be an ongoing series, as we mentioned at the beginning of this video, starting with Action Movie Quiz this Thursday. That's going to be 8 p.m. GMT. We'll probably have all the conversions of other times for international viewers and everything like that. So check our socials very quickly. I will bring that along the bottom. So go to all of those and we'll keep you updated with all of the stuff we've got coming out on the channel, as well as any other future watch-alongs and Battle of the Brackets as we get to them. So this was fun. It was great to see a lot of people in the comments today. Sending your questions in, always a pleasure. And thank you for tuning in and being the regulars. You guys are absolutely awesome. So with all that being said, we'll see you on Thursday night. See ya.